immigrant families struggle to pay tuition at UT Austin after Texas Dream Act is repealed. They just keep trying to make us feel bad for people who shouldn't be here. Marielle and her mother are among families dragging suitcases and carrying boxes as UT students return to campus the weekend before the first day of class. And background music. The college senior is moving into an apartment for the first time. It's supposed to be exciting, but Marielle is a mixed bag of emotions. Until a couple of weeks ago, Marielle didn't know if she could go back to school. In June, the U.S. Department of Justice sued Texas to end access to in-state tuition for students without legal status, arguing the Texas Dream Act discriminated against U.S. citizens. And within hours, the state conceded. Good, now get rid of the federal DACA. Get rid of all of the dream. KUT News is using Marielle's first name only because of privacy concerns over her immigration status. Marielle had been set to graduate from UT Austin next spring with 2 degrees, one in biology and another in Spanish. That's insane that an illegal immigrant was able to go and get 2 degrees. That is insane. What the fuck? And they were getting access to in-state tuition to do it. She would be a step closer to becoming a doctor. Literally doctors and engineers, chat. That was the one thing that I felt like I had. It was my education. That's the one thing I thought I had that would never be taken away from me. And for that to happen, it was like I was crushed. Damn! You should have become a citizen then, hey! I need to throw a party tonight after work. Yeah, it's like, fuck it. They weren't even here on a visa. They were illegally here. That's crazy that they were given fucking anything. After they heard the news, Marielle's family tried to stay positive. They thought maybe it would take a while for the state to eliminate the program. And I'm also surprised at how fast it worked because usually government is incredibly slow and inefficient. But in mid-July, university officials asked Marielle for proof of lawful status to keep paying in-state tuition. I'm not considered a Texas resident, so I have nothing. So the university is going to be calling ICE on all of these people here illegally, right? Marielle was born in Mexico, but grew up in Texas. During her first 3 years of college, she paid in-state tuition and could get financial aid through the Texas Dream Act. She and her family paid about $13,000 a year for her dorm and meals. They have to go back. They have to go back. It's just insane that they were able to get these benefits that should have gone to citizens who live here. And like now that they're crying about it, people expect you to feel bad about it. But why would you feel bad? She should not have been here. She had years to apply for citizenship and she decided not to because she got benefits for being illegal. Even that required a big effort, Marielle said. Her parents each worked 2 jobs, but her mom, Mireya, said it was worth it. We'd have to limit ourselves, but as long as it was for her education so she could have a better life than us, then we didn't mind, she said. KUT is also only using her first name because of privacy concerns. Get them out. Send them back. With the Texas Dream Act repealed, Marielle's tuition went from $11,000, which she would pay with financial aid, to $22,500 without financial aid. Good. She should not have been getting a reduced education budget, and she should not have been getting financial aid. Someone who is illegally in the USA uses a government program for education. They should be charged with the total money used plus interest, even when they leave. Yeah, sure, fuck it. Why not? Why not? With living expenses, Marielle's family would have to pay $29,500 a semester. And since she still had a year to go, that meant close to $59,000. The annual income for the family of 6 is about $40,000. Send them back. Not my people, not my problem. They should not be getting any tax dollars. 15 years, didn't think to become a citizen. She can blame herself. I mean, again, why become a citizen if you get all of these benefits for being here illegally? If she had become a citizen, she would have been paying this price from the get-go. She would have still had the access to the in-state tuition, but she wouldn't have had access to the financial aid. Like, what is the incentive? And that's why we not only need mass deportations, we need changes to legislature. Marielle is one of about 57,000 students enrolled in Texas public universities who were affected by the lawsuit ending the Texas Dream Act. So what you're saying is that that's 57,000 students that can get rounded up by ICE and kicked the fuck out right now? So what you're saying is that ICE has a job to do and we're just reading about it. According to the organization Every Texan in 2021, students without legal status were awarded $10.6 million in financial aid. That same year, students without legal status paid $71 million in tuition and other fees. But we don't need them to be paying the reduced money. Why don't we just let Americans into American colleges to pay that money? I gotta just... What are they trying to say? It's okay that the illegals were getting financial aid because they paid a lot more, but those are seats in the university that can go to Americans. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Where's my fucking money? Along with the parents of the kids. Don't forget the parents, true. They can be deported as a family. Phoenix DS, thank you. Why should illegals benefit over natural citizens? Should strike those unlawful illegal benefits from the books. They'll stop the illegal stream. That's what I've been saying. And there are some crazy people who are just like, illegals don't get benefits. It's just a far-right talking point. It's just racism. It's like, I literally read the words on my screen, brother. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Bored DevOps, thank you. What was her plan after college? You can't work a white-collar job without passing a background check? I don't know. And the fact that she was like dual degrees in biology and Spanish, and she was like, my dream is to become a doctor. I wouldn't want this person as my doctor. They came here illegally. They couldn't be honest enough to get a citizenship. They were using tax money as an illegal to get their doctor degree in biology. Why the fuck would I want to see this person? Why would I have any faith in their ability to actually be a good doctor if everything they've done since entering my country is disingenuous? Like, why would I trust them? UT Austin is the second most desirable school in the state. That's a huge number of Texans that were denied the ability to attend. That's crazy. Barbara Hines, the former director of the Texas Law School Immigration Clinic at UT Austin, helped push for the Texas DREAM Act over 20 years ago. She said keeping these families from accessing in-state tuition has repercussions beyond higher education institutions. Fire her. Fire this dumb bitch too. I don't give a shit anymore. If these people are going to argue for illegal migrants to have more access to things than citizens, fucking get them out too. Zero pity anymore. That's I'm fish tank, man. The gloves are off this season. The business community supported the in-state tuition because it leads to a qualified workforce. Well, I mean, our detector indicated that was a lie, she said. So this is really bad for the community. The Texas Immigration Council estimates the state could lose over $460 million in economic activity every year, $244.4 million in lost wages, and $216.9 million in spending power. The group said a college degree increases the earning potential by 57% for students without legal status. You know what the earning potential for students without legal status should be? 0 fucking percent! 0 fucking percent! Get them out of my country! What is this? Why would you want to deny kids who have lived their entire lives the opportunity to go to college? These people aren't real. This is not a real person. I too am alive, woman. They're so close, but so far. Passage of the Texas DREAM Act in 2001 was a bipartisan effort backed by Republican Governor Rick Perry. Gross. Then 22 other states and the District of Columbia followed Texas in making college more affordable for students without legal status. Why? Once again, where did this collective psychosis come from? Where did our politicians start prioritizing illegal foreigners over the citizens of their own country? Politicians have not been for the people of this country for so fucking long. Advocates worry that just as Texas set a precedent to pass the law, other states may soon follow in taking away in-state tuition. So far, the federal administration has filed lawsuits against Kentucky, Minnesota, and Oklahoma. Immigrant groups, students, and higher education institutions like Austin Community College have tried fighting the decision in Texas courts. But so far, their efforts have not been successful. Mariel is the only child in her family who is not a U.S. citizen. So they got citizenship for the other kids, but you decided you wanted to game the system, and so you didn't get citizenship. She was brought to the US when she was 14. Her parents wanted her to have more opportunities. But now Maria said she sometimes feels guilty. You should feel guilty! What the fuck? I was the one that brought her here. She didn't decide to come. She's not guilty of anything. For her, this is her world. Then she should have become a fucking citizen, shouldn't she have? 2 weeks before classes started, Maria and her husband decided their daughter's dreams couldn't be taken away just like that. They had worked too hard to get where they are now. So they took out a $15,000 loan from a family friend. Advocates don't know how many students were unable to pay out-of-state tuition and had to drop out. Even though she's back in school, Mariel had to make some adjustments. She dropped her Spanish degree and is trying to finish her biology degree in the fall semester by taking 8 classes. I have mixed feelings. I'm happy to be back and to be able to finish my degree, she said, but I feel a lot of guilt for making my parents pay that much. But you don't feel any guilt for taking taxpayer money in the form of financial aid? You don't feel any guilt for using money of American citizens to go to college in America when you refuse to become a citizen? Like, I don't... Imagine. Her mother took on a third job cleaning offices, and her dad, who does landscaping, has also increased his work hours. I've told my husband I won't be happy until my girl can achieve the dreams we have in mind. Until then, I won't be at peace. Mariel is hoping things will change and she'll be able to go to a medical school in Texas. If not, she's considered getting her degree in Mexico, a country she hasn't been to in almost 2 decades. Well, good. Go to Mexico and get your degree. I encourage this. Of course not, Kirsche. Stealing from the US was the plan. Why would she feel guilty about them? It's all so tiresome, chat. It's all so fucking tiresome. This is infuriating. You're barely afloat paying for school and these people just get that for free. Imagine getting financial aid because you're not a citizen. That's crazy. Abrego Garcia asks for a gag order on Pam Bondi and Kristi Noem. How can you even ask for that? I don't understand. Attorneys for Kilmar Abrego Garcia are asking a federal judge to issue a gag order against Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Attorney General Pam Bondi to bar them from making baseless public attacks against the Salvadorian national who was wrongfully deported. I don't think he was wrongfully deported, brother. To El Salvador earlier this year. Abrego Garcia's lawyers said in a Thursday motion filed in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee that Trump administration officials have targeted their client since he was released from prison, leveling highly prejudicial, inflammatory, and false statements. To safeguard his right to a fair trial, Mr. Abrego respectfully renews his earlier requests that the court order that all DOJ and DHS officials involved in this case, and all officials in their supervisory chain, including Bondi and Noem, refrain from making extrajudicial comments that pose a substantial likelihood of materially prejudicing the proceeding. The attorneys said in a 15-page motion to the U.S. District Judge Waverly Crenshaw. Noem has accused Abrego Garcia, who entered the U.S. illegally, of being associated with the Salvadorian gang MS-13. His lawyers have denied the accusation. Wasn't there reasoning for why he had to be sent back from El Salvador? Because he feared for his life while there? He doesn't belong here. He won't be staying here. America is a safer nation without this MS-13 gangbanger in it. The Department of Homeland Security said of Abrego Garcia in a post on social media Monday. Garcia was arrested earlier this week by Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Baltimore, days after he was released from custody in a criminal case in Tennessee. After being deported to a notorious mega prison in El Salvador in March, he was brought back to the U.S. to face human smuggling charges following a traffic stop in 2022. I would have just been like, you know what? You can just add that onto his sentence down there. Just keep him in the mega prison, bro. Following detention by ICE, Garcia's attorneys were informed that the Salvadorian national could be deported to Uganda. U.S. District Judge Paula Zinnes said Monday the administration is absolutely forbidden from removing him until a hearing can be held to weigh if the Trump administration would let him challenge the removal to a third world country. If Kilmar Abrego Garcia did not want to be mentioned by the Secretary of Homeland Security, then he should not have entered our country illegally and committed heinous crimes, a DHS official told The Hill on Friday morning. Once again, the media is falling all over themselves to defend this criminal, illegal MS-13 gang member who is an alleged human trafficker, domestic abuser, and child predator. The DHS official continued. The media's sympathetic narrative about this criminal, illegal alien has completely fallen apart, and yet they continue to peddle his sob story. They added, "We hear far too much about gang members and criminals, false sob stories, and not enough about their victims." The Justice Department declined to comment. Once again, they just enjoy protecting criminals. They don't give a shit about normal people. Why they protect criminals? I couldn't tell you. I'm not insane, all right? I'm a little fucking retarded, but I'm not insane, you know? Like...
Thank you, Ms. Miller. On Kilmar Abrego Garcia, could you just speak a little bit about the administration's decision to keep him in ICE detention, you know, taking up a bed when he's already on the U.S. Marshals Monitoring Service because of the criminal trial? And also, if you could speak to the decision to, or the plan to deport him to Uganda. The judge in the immigration case, I should say, raised concerns about coercion with that in a hearing earlier this week.
Why would it be coercion to send somebody to Uganda?
They said it was possible coercion. They didn't make.
No, I'm just yes. It was a rhetorical question, which I'll address. But so first of all, this is the issue with crazy liberal judges everywhere: is people who are a clear flight risk, a clear threat to public safety, get released over and over and over again. We see that here in Washington D.C., not in the immigration context, but you see individuals all the time who are charged with extremely serious crimes. They are released on their own recognizance, and they go on to commit robbery, muggings, carjackings, murder. I mean, I've seen example after example of extremely serious felony, including homicides, where the individual would have been in jail but for the fact that they were released by a judge. Obviously, the U.S. government, with someone who is an extreme flight and public safety risk, like Garcia, we are not going to allow them to be on the street where they can engage. I mean, this is someone, as you know, who's not only a member of a terrorist organization, who's not only been accused of battery, but who's been accused of grave crimes against children. This is not someone we're going to allow to be out on the street. Now, so the point about Uganda, you just have to marvel at this. The same left-wing NGOs who tell us that we should open our borders to all the poor countries of the world also tell us that it would be unfair, improper to have anybody live in those countries. Well, if those countries don't have good systems of law and good systems of governance, then why would we want to have open migration from those countries? So these two propositions are in complete conflict. But more fundamentally, remember, Garcia has said he doesn't want to go back home to El Salvador. That's what he said. So we're honoring that request by providing him with an alternate place to live. We're not a travel booking agency. True. It's not our job to say to illegal alien terrorists, pick your favorite destination in the world and we'll send you a charter jet there. We have countries that have very graciously agreed to help resettle nationals from other countries, which is a great benefit to the United States. And obviously that's something that Garcia is eligible for.
Sthephen, the French president.
That's a great response. I love what he says, but I hate how he says it. His inflection drives me fucking wild. Your favorite part is when Miller said it's deporting time and deported all over the place. True and real. I'd watch that movie.
In LA, do you think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake, so we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently. In LA,
it's going to be a problem if ICE comes to the polling booths, eh? Are you saying the thing that never happens and the thing that is a far-right conspiracy is something you're worried about? You saying you're worried the illegals won't get to vote for you? Is that what you're saying? Wow, I'm so shocked. I'm so shocked. What a twist. Because voter ID is going to happen after all, even if indirectly. I just don't understand how we are a first world country that doesn't require voter ID. Our leaders in Washington could learn a thing or two from some of the best elementary schools here in Illinois.
Hi, I'm here at Wagner Elementary. I just got to meet with a group of kindergartners and second graders, and they are really smart kids.
You know, it's probably about the same intelligence as the people that voted for this guy, so that's why he's praising them.
And it was great to spend time with them. They get to learn every day about these classroom rules, and they follow them. And I have to say there are a few in here I think the leaders in Washington ought to learn, like, for example, listen carefully, maybe treat each other with respect, and of course, make good decisions. I wish more leaders in Washington would do that.
You know, actually, I agree with him. I wish more leaders in Washington would listen carefully. Because if they did listen carefully, they might notice quite how deep the Marxist subversion of language goes. And I agree with him there, but we had libs of TikTok here tweet out, not a single student can read at grade level in 30 Illinois schools. That's really funny. School spending per student seems like it varies between 56,300 is the highest number I see here, and the lowest being 5,929. And number of students who are reading proficient Zeros all the way fucking down, brother. Classic. Pritzker's replies are now just flooded with this chart. Keep posting it. Is it? How does Illinois rank nationally on NAEP math test scores for 4th graders? Oh boy. Based on the latest 2024 NAEP data, Illinois' average 4th grade math score is 236, not significantly different from the national average of 237. Its score is lower than in 9 jurisdictions, higher than in 6, and comparable to 36 others. 38% of students scored at or above proficient versus national, 39%. $50K per student? Do they get private tutors? That's a great question. That's a great question. Non-citizens are using hidden cameras and earpieces to cheat commercial driver's license exams.
Now we have an exclusive look into a criminal investigation about just that. We've obtained documents about 5 people arrested in Jacksonville. We're showing only the face of the man already convicted. The charges? Felonies. Cheating to get their CDL, commercial driver's license, to drive a truck. Do the men arrested speak English? On the arrest reports, take a look. All requested
Turkish, Ukrainian, Turkish. What the hell?
The arrests fall under the Bureau of Criminal Investigations and Intelligence from the Florida Highway Patrol. It's complex.
This is a very elaborate case. It is.
Sergeant Dylan Bryan with FHP says there is now an investigation statewide across Florida. Dozens and dozens of cases, he says. And the cheating scheme centered in Jacksonville.
Put your phone down. All right. Stand up for me.
You're watching now a body camera from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office of an arrest made inside the DMV on Roosevelt. One man arrested, Vladislav Urashik, found guilty of 2 felonies, sent to jail in April for 8 months. Brian calls him above entry level, but not the mastermind. So you're looking for the kingpin?
Always.
Kingpin.
So how does FHP say this cheating scheme works?
We were shocked to see the extent that they were going to.
Brian calls it organized fraud.
That's
According
crazy.
To investigators, the men went in here, the DMV on Roosevelt, to take the CDL test to drive a truck. But they are rigged up with equipment to get their answers.
And you see the actual apparatus that he's wearing.
What the fuck?
Harness that actually holds the phone.
Why go through so much effort to cheat when you could just learn how to do it and be good at your job? Like, this is baffling to me. Wouldn't you want to actually know what the fuck you're doing? What? The spy, bruh.
A red iPhone in the harness, and under a t-shirt, you see the hole right there? So he comes in this t-shirt with a hole cut in it.
Yes.
Now watch this. In a video we've obtained from the DMV, this man opening his shirt. Brian says it's kind of like FaceTime. The men sit in front of a computer and wiggle around.
Their body language is abnormal.
Until somebody outside in a parking lot can read the test questions on the screen in English and then tell them through this earpiece in their language. Employees at the DMV got suspicious.
Most people don't start to disrobe when they take a DL test.
Sorry, I can't take a test unless I'm completely naked, actually. That's how I'm most comfortable. Let me check for answers. Google, help me out, bruv. Man, it's like, that's just... Why? Why would you think you're capable of doing this when you can't even speak our language? And this is why, like, I don't give a shit anymore, right? Like, when it's just like, if you're in America, you should speak English, and some smug asshole is always like, well, English isn't actually the official language of the United States. We don't have an official language. I don't give a fuck. It's the language everyone fucking speaks. It's the language all of our signs are in until so many illegals surged into our country that they decided to put Spanish as a second option on everything. Holy fuck. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it, man.
In their shirts.
They are, indeed.
So the 5 men arrested so far, that's just the tip of the iceberg?
It is.
This is happening all over the country. Maybe from Jacksonville we can make a difference.
And I certainly fucking hope so, because if you can't speak English and you have to cheat to pass the driving exam, you shouldn't be having that license, man. English is the language the laws are written in. It is. And I'm pretty sure Trump did an executive order that makes English our official language now. You know, and I'm sure the rationale will be, oh, that's just an executive order, that doesn't count. We still don't have an official language, right? Which is why I'm saying a lot of these executive orders that Trump is doing, they need to just be made into law. They need to just be made into law. JD Vance just confirmed there are as many as 40 million illegals in America, and they got housing. This drove up the cost of our homes and our rent. And then I think this is just transcribing what the video is, so I'll just let this play.
Housing gets so unaffordable for American citizens. Two big problems. Number one, I already talked about, interest rates were too high. Number two, you had way too many people in this country who are competing against American citizens for scarce homes. And that's the illegal immigration problem. Why has housing leveled off over the past 6 months? I really believe the main driver is you've had negative net migration into the United States for the first time in 60 years in this country. You cannot flood the United States of America with 20, 30, 40 million people who have no legal right to be here, have them compete against young American families for homes and not expect the price to skyrocket.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as supply and demand.
Absolutely.
You're going to increase the price. Why did housing...
And this is something I've been saying ever since I started looking for a house. And in the area that I'm looking in New England, I don't expect prices to fall too crazily. I expect there to be a bit of a price fall, because there are definitely some houses that are fucking priced at a ridiculous angle. But I expect this to be felt in other areas way more than in New England, because New England was already expensive even without the illegal immigration problem. Not the corporations buying up homes or Airbnb. Yeah, I mean, the illegal immigration is making it an issue for newer and younger families to break into the market and buy starter homes. The corporations buying up stuff is an additional problem that factors into that. But I think the corporation is a bit more insidious than just outpricing first-time home buyers. And I've talked about this with New England as well, where there are so many properties that get bought and then transformed into multifamily rentals. And it feels like New England had been heading towards the people who live there won't be able to buy homes. It will just be an area of the country that is like permanent rental. You will own nothing. Scott Turner said HUD is English only. Last week, we sent out a directive to HUD staff that English will be the sole language for business at the department. Since then, we've removed 1,342 pages and documents using foreign languages, including Spanish, Russian, Chinese, Arabic, Farsi, Korean, Somali, and many more. And this was the HUD is English only screenshots here. You have Espanol, Italiano, Deutsch, Francais, English. And then you can see that this page is in Espanol. And now it's just in English with no options to change it to the other languages. Thank you, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. It's a really nice little happy note. You know, nothing crazy to talk about here. Just like, hey, yeah, English. Speak it if you want to live here.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Mr. Travis, the New Hampshire politician we had a brief interaction with. Back in June, he said, defunding the New Hampshire DHSS Office of Refugee Resettlement. We don't need to be spending tax dollars to bring low human capital foreigners to New Hampshire and put them on public assistance. Keep New Hampshire great. And then the other day, Jeremy Kaufman retweeted that from June and said, just gave a strong pitch to support Travis's proposal to end refugee resettlement in New Hampshire to a room of state reps and liberty activists. Together, we will end the importation of foreign socialists to New Hampshire in 2026. Fucking based, man. I hope when I find a home, it'll be in New Hampshire so I can vote for people like this, you know? For English, press 1. For any other languages, please hang up. If I ever called a customer support number and I heard that, I would know that I am definitely giving my money to the correct company. Why was that ever a thing? Why was that ever a thing in any state? Yeah, that's a great question. Use your comprehensive refugee resettlement plan. Go back to where you came from. And this article lives rent-free in my head. I read it on stream before, but... So the New York Times in 2018 published this article. New Hampshire is 94% white. How do you diversify a whole state? I think my question is, why are you framing this as a bad thing? Why does it matter? Like, just let them exist, man. Like, that's crazy. Catalina Celentano used to hold training sessions for hospital workers in Lynn, Mass, to familiarize them with the cultures of patients from Cambodia, Russia, and the Dominican Republic. When she moved to New Hampshire, she suddenly found herself in an ethnic vacuum. I went from being able to speak Spanish every day to not speaking Spanish at all because there wasn't anybody to speak Spanish to, said Mrs. Celentano, who was born in Colombia to a Colombian mother and a Hungarian father. The only person that spoke Spanish, or I spoke Spanish with, was a cleaning lady, and she moved back to Colombia. New Hampshire, like its neighbors Vermont and Maine, is nearly all white. This has posed an array of problems for new arrivals, who often find themselves isolated and alone without the comfort and support of a built-in community. It has also posed problems for employers in these states who find that their homogeneity can be a barrier to recruiting and retaining workers of different ethnicities and cultural backgrounds. Man, who would have guessed it was a masshole Karen who complains about not being able to speak English in an English majority nation? Imagine! The issue prompted about 100 business leaders, government officials, and members of nonprofit organizations to meet Thursday to search for ways that New Hampshire, which is 94% white, might lure other racial and ethnic groups as well as younger people. Well, if you want to lure younger people, it's got to be a bit affordable, right? Which is like basically the price margin here. But you don't really need to lure anyone. If they want to come to New Hampshire, they will. If they don't, they'll go somewhere else. I don't think New Hampshire's having any issues with population at the moment. Why do you need to lure other groups? Yep. And also, hey, by the way, that thing that's not happening and you're a racist if you mention it, with non-whites poised to make up a majority of the American population in the next 3 decades, he said, diversity has become a bottom-line imperative for companies competing for talent, especially for workers who can speak other languages. As it stands, New Hampshire is 3% Latino, 2% African American, and 3% Asian, according to the census, with some people identifying as more than one race. The nation as a whole is 17% Latino, 14% African American, and 6% Asian. Meanwhile, Democrats in Deerfield, New Hampshire, are going to hold anti-ICE training. I would blur out numbers and names, but they posted this publicly, and they at the New Hampshire GOP and the New Hampshire House GOP. And this is a flyer that says Civics Program, Active Bystander, Know Your Rights Training. All are welcome to participate in a community active bystander training in de-escalating situations that require a calming, non-violent presence. This program is designed to help you know how to safely intervene if needed to aid a person who may be treated by public acts of hate or harassment. Know Your Rights training covers the 4th and 5th Amendment rights listed in the U.S. Constitution. How do these rights apply to people who are at risk of deportation? Hot take. Once again, I don't think the U.S. Constitution should apply to anyone here illegally. This training will also teach us how to recognize a legal arrest warrant and what to do when in contact with an ICE officer. The civics program is being presented by Granite State Organizing Project on September 10th, 2025. It's going to be at the Deerfield Town Hall. Refreshments will be served. So now they only care about the Constitution insofar as they can use it against you because they know it will work if they use it against you. If they could, they would just tear up the entire thing, but they know that they can't. They just know that it is an effective tool because you are someone who likes to live by your principles as much as you possibly can. And allowing these people to subvert and use your principles against you ensures you will always lose, unfortunately. Maybe ICE should show up with their own table and explain how to safely turn people in who are here illegally. That'd be great. That'd be great. The Constitution only applies to people that are here legally and has not overstayed their visa. If you came here illegally or overstayed your visa, the Constitution doesn't cover you. Which, yeah, I've been told this every time I bring it up, but for some reason we still allow illegals to use the constitutional protections. I don't know, man. Like, at what point do you realize the corruption is so set in that it doesn't matter if it actually is the case that the Constitution doesn't apply to them? Democrats keep making it so anyways. Shell fired white staffers at Houston offices for weaker diverse hires in a discriminatory purge, lawsuit claims. Oil giant Shell USA allegedly ousted all of the white employees from its corporate security team in Houston, replacing them with less qualified people of color in what amounted to a discriminatory purge, according to a bombshell lawsuit. Kevin Taylor and Gulf War veteran Michelle Romack, who are both white, claim they were booted from their jobs earlier this year, despite each having more than a decade of relevant experience at Shell, according to the lawsuit filed in the U.S. Southern District of Texas on Tuesday. They're suing Shell and Wayne Hunt, a regional security manager, alleging they participated in a discriminatory restructuring under DEI mandates that violate civil rights laws. Shell did not respond to the post request for comment. Of course not. In January, Hunt announced an upcoming reorganization and required all of the white employees on the team to reapply for their current roles, though non-white team members were not required to submit applications, according to the lawsuit. And this is why it's really important to have a man on the inside. I'm sure like they all talked, and then once they were fired, they had to get information from someone who still worked there, who was willing to help them push forward this lawsuit. If anyone has ever done you wrong, make sure you have an informant. At the time, Hunt told Taylor that he had to resubmit for his current job because others had expressed interest, and Shell was looking to diversify the talent, the suit alleged. Quick, get those whites out of here, true and real. High-level security roles were then given to a Hispanic woman who had a background as an administrative assistant, and a black man with no background in protecting people or assets, according to the lawsuit. A Hispanic contractor for Shell, whose contract had previously been in the process of being terminated for poor performance, also won a role on the team, along with a Hispanic woman without U.S. citizenship, the lawsuit said. Well, what happened to... It has nothing to do with hiring people based on race or gender. It's simply that we need to give people with equal qualifications a chance. No one is hiring unqualified people. I mean, all of us knew that was a lie based on everything we've read for like the last decade, but they still keep repeating that same lie, and there are still retards who believe that lie. When it was revealed that she was ineligible due to her citizenship, the woman was given a high-level role at Shell in Mexico, according to the complaint. Imagine, like, not having qualifications for a job and then not even having citizenship, and the company being like, oh, that's okay. We'll just give you another role that you're not qualified for in your home country. Holy fuck, bro. Our ambition is to become one of the most diverse and inclusive organizations in the world, a place where everyone feels valued and respected and has a strong sense of belonging. The lawsuit accuses Shell of maintaining illegal racial hiring and promotion quotas in the U.S., despite actions taken by the Trump administration to squash DEI programs. On its website, the oil company boasts that it is working to become one of the most diverse and inclusive organizations in the world. It has a global council for race consisting of senior executives that aim to advance diversity in our workforce so that it better reflects communities in which we work. This is another line that, like, one-shots room temp IQ retards. They're just like, well, yeah, if it's a global company and, like, they're looking to expand in Colombia, why wouldn't they hire Colombians for the Colombian sector? And it's like, they're not talking about doing something as sensical as that. If they were, nobody would really fucking complain. That would just make sense. So a company of super racists. Got it. A company of, yeah, fuck the white people. Fuck white people, get them out. Taylor was stripped of his role and forced to relocate to the East Coast, while Romack and Thomas Hutt, a white man and U.S. veteran who worked at Shell for 15 years, were fired, the suit claims. Hunt, who had managed the security team, appeared to mock Romack and Hutt's firings, giving them each a tear jar, according to the lawsuit. I cannot imagine being so racist that I fire someone because of their race, and then when they both complain and file a lawsuit, I give them a tear jar. This isn't merely advanced racism. This isn't, I don't need early life anymore. This is like a whole new level of racism. It's crazy to see them be so fucking bold and smug about it, But when you think about how insulated and protected they've been in their racism for so long, it's not surprising that they're just like, yeah, get the fuck out, white guy. Oh, you're complaining I fired you because you're white? Here's your fucking tear jar, idiot. No one's gonna care. Like, it doesn't surprise me. This is evidence of conduct that is callous, willful, and wanton, the lawsuit said. It became clear that these promoted employees had objectively weaker qualifications, with at least one asking Taylor for help with their new job. Yeah, white boy, you go train your replacement and you gonna like it. It all goes back to the soup. Fucking wonton soup! Campbell's, how could you do this to me? Taylor was ousted from his role in Houston, where he was replaced with Ana Chavez, a Hispanic woman, and relocated to a security advisor position in the East region, which had been his third of 4 choices, the suit said. But Taylor has repeatedly been asked to complete tasks belonging to Chavez, like guarding the CEO, because it was well known that she was not competent to fulfill those duties. Then why the fuck did you give her his job? Bro, if I got replaced by someone less qualified than myself because I'm white, and then my boss was like, hey bro, I know we like took away your position and we relocated you on the other side of the country, but like, can you come out and do your previous job's duties? Because your replacement actually isn't competent enough to fulfill them. I'd be like, yeah, nah, bro, I hope the CEO gets shot, actually. Then maybe you can double my salary and I'll come back. Holy shit! Taylor was passed over for his second choice position in the West region, which went to Hector Erazo, a Hispanic man and contractor for Shell, the suit said. Hutt, who supervised Taylor and Romack before he was fired, said both were more qualified than Erazo, whose contract he had been in the process of terminating in 2024 for poor performance, according to the lawsuit. Since taking on the role in August, Erazo has asked for Taylor's help, claiming he has never completed a security assessment or security plan for executive protection, even admitting that he has never even seen one, according to the lawsuit. I cannot imagine how fucking angry I would be if I were any of these people and I watched these incompetent retards taking jobs that I should have been getting paid for. But instead, oh no, I can't do the job. I'm too fucking white. Holy shit. What do you mean a security plan quoted by head of security? That's insane. That is crazy. And you know what's even crazier? The fact that they're replacing security people for CEOs of companies like this in a time where we had that like Luigi Manicotti guy just go out and execute a CEO. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? This is insanity. You would think the CEOs would at least care about their own lives more so than DEI. Oh my God. I'm in danger. The CEO reading this article. The Post was unable to reach Chavez and Erazo for comment. Wow, I'm so shocked. What our clients experienced should alarm every American. Julie Holler, attorney for America First Legal, there they are again, fucking based, which filed the suit on behalf of Taylor and Romack, said in a statement. If a corporation can openly discriminate against employees because of the color of their skin under the guise of DEI, then no one's rights are safe. And she's completely correct. That's all DEI is. DEI isn't about helping people. It's about just eliminating white people. If you read everything they're saying, if you look at everything they're doing, if you look at how they talk about white people in like the SHRM conferences, that's just what it is. I don't even understand why, because it's like, there's so many different kinds of white people, man. Like, I don't understand. Taylor and Romack are seeking unspecified compensatory and punitive damages. I hope they fucking win, bro. I hope they win. Lawsuits are extremely important to be filed. More important that they are won. True. The dollar amount should be astronomical. Also true. Causing much pain, and the terms should include mandatory employee meetings on why all discrimination is wrong. The amount should be reasonable or the cost goes down to the customers. I don't know if it's possible. Shell should be Bud Lighted. Is the CEO aware that his protection was incompetent to fulfill her duties? Yeah, Yeah, right? Why do these people always need standards to be lowered in order to be qualified for schools, public, private sector jobs, etc.? Always needing special treatment, can't compete on an even playing field. Can never get one of you to answer that. The actual unironic, non-racist statement is that women and minorities don't need handouts in order to get jobs. If they want to qualify for something, they can go get the qualifications. They can get the education. They can get, you know, whatever they need to get into that job. Hiring unqualified people simply for their skin color or their gender or orientation or whatever the fuck have you, that is what gives the impression that there's just like this massive incompetency. 8th graders at TVUSD, what is this? Temecula Valley USD? I don't even know where the fuck that is. Beg the board to remove guidelines which require girls who don't want boys invading their private spaces to declare that they have a mental illness. TVUSD wants these young girls to say they have a mental illness because they don't want boys in their bathrooms. That's crazy! That you're some kind of bigot if you correctly recognize dysphoria as a mental illness, but they want you, a normal person, to just be like, no, I have the mental illness because I don't want people who could potentially be bad actors pretending they have an identity entering my bathroom. That's nuts, bro.
It's at James L. Day Middle School. This year, we are both in a PE class with a biological male who is transitioning. We are young women and do not feel comfortable changing in front of a biological male. Everyone should feel comfortable and safe at school. Shouldn't be a thing. We should not have to claim we are mentally unstable or extremely religious to be accommodated for this reason. I ask you to rethink your decision and reevaluate this right now. Please rethink what you're doing. There has to be a better solution. There has to be something that is better than what this is stating right now. Thank you.
And we're both 8th grade students.
It's a little wild that despite not being articulate because they're fucking children, they're still more rational than the adults in that room. Incredibly brave, especially considering she sounded scared. Oh yeah, I would not be able to speak publicly at that age, bro. I'd be terrified. Hopefully things are actually finally changing for once, and these girls will not have to deal with this for much longer. You know how that fucking Indian trucker has been in the news for like a week now because he killed a family of 3 making a horrendous turn on the highway? You know what's really crazy? Because everyone's just like, God damn, how can we have these people here who can't read English killing American families? And this article came out today, and I'm just kind of like, damn. 3 victims of Florida 18-wheeler U-turn crash ID'd as Haitian immigrants. Damn, that's wild that there's so few Americans in the area that the crash is between 2 different kinds of immigrants. Friendly fire. So let's see. 3 victims of the Indian immigrant truck driver who made an illegal U-turn across a Florida highway earlier this month have been identified as Haitian immigrants, according to officials. I really hate how when I read news articles, I can't tell from just reading the first bit of the article when they say immigrant if they mean like actual immigrant or if they mean illegal, because they have conflated things so fucking much that you have to actually like hunt for what kind of immigrant they're talking about. The driver, Herbie Dufresne, 30, and passengers Faniola Joseph, 27, and Rodrigue Dor, 53, all Haitian immigrants were in their minivan when it plowed into the side of an 18-wheeler driven by Harjinder Singh, an immigrant from India. On August 12th, the Miami Herald reported. Okay, see, again, this is the problem. This is the problem. They refer to these people, the unfortunate people who crashed into this guy who should not have had a license, as Haitian immigrants, and they refer to the guy here illegally as an immigrant from India. So like, how am I supposed to know, man? Dufresne arrived in Miami in December 2023 from Port-au-Prince and was given a 2-year permit to live and work in the U.S. after obtaining a financial sponsor under a Biden-era program, the outlet reported, citing a friend of the victim. Okay, so he was here legally. He was on a 2-year visa. No information was provided on Joseph and Dora's arrival or immigration status other than they previously lived in Florida, the Miami Herald reported. The Department of Homeland Security did not respond for a request for comment. At the time of the fatal accident, all 3 men were on the way to Indiana, where Dora relocated after failing to secure work in Miami, a friend told the court. Man, imagine coming here legally and like not being able to find work, and then you find work in another state and you're like, finally, it's time to like get down to business here in the country I want to be in. And then an illegal immigrant who should not have had a license does this. Footage from the driver's side of Singh's truck showed him making a wide U-turn on the Florida Turnpike, with the minivan plowing into its side and wedging itself partially underneath the low bed. The 28-year-old barely reacts to the visibly devastating crash video showed. Well, literally had no reaction. No reaction when he turned, no reaction when the car rammed into him, no reaction while he was standing outside and emergency services were trying to move the car out from under the truck. Like, just did not care in any way, shape, or form. Actually crazy. Just notice the no U-turn sign in the photos. Yeah, like, what's even, like, we're rallying on this guy for not being able to speak English, but also there's literally a picture on the sign. But I guess, you know, if you didn't pass the exam because you can't speak English, the sign means nothing to you, I suppose. It's just like, oh, it's a neat sign. I wonder what city is that up ahead, you know? Singh, an illegal migrant from India, they finally say it, came to the United States in 2018, failed English proficiency exams administered by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration after the April 12th crash. He was able to accurately read only 1 of 4 signs he was presented during the test, Department of Transportation officials said. After being nearly deported in 2018, why wasn't he? Singh was granted a work permit under the Biden administration in 2021. So he wasn't deported in 2018 and he just kind of floundered about for multiple years until 2021 when he was granted another work permit despite being here illegally the whole time and having caused a bridge collapse. What the fuck? Why? Why? I don't understand. How does our country work anymore, man? The now Florida inmate received his commercial driver's license in California in 2024 and received one in Washington in 2023, according to the DOT. How? It just confounds me that someone could be here illegally, cause a bridge accident for a bridge to collapse, then be granted a work permit after that, many years after that, and then many years after that work permit was issued, despite him having a record, he was able to get a CDL in 2 different states somehow. Like, what the fuck? CDL tests are only administered in English in California, while in Washington they can be taken in English, Spanish, Russian, or Serbian Croatian. Well, Washington needs to change that. They should be taken only in fucking English. What do you mean by this? If you can't speak English, you shouldn't have a fucking CDL. You shouldn't have a regular license. Phoenix DS, thank you for the Canadians, of course. It all makes perfect nonsense. Democrat policies wanting to have sub-educated, locked-in voters. And it's just like, I understand, you know, they want their subjugated class of slave labor and people who will just eternally vote for them to rely on the government, right? Like, you know, you get that overarching government support. You gotta get that nice communism in there. But like, what confounds me is like, you want a population that's easy to control. If I'm thinking from the perspective of these people putting these policies into place, you want a population that's easy to control. So you don't want them too intelligent, and you don't want them too able to understand the actual rules and laws of the country that they live in, which makes sense. But if they're unable to do literally anything, what the fuck are you even ruling over in the first place? Like, how can you feel good about, like, yes, I am the elite class and I am worth way more than you are, when you're ruling over people who are unable to even take care of themselves as an adult? Like, that's like saying you are the greatest retard in the Olympics. I don't, like, what are you actually winning here? I love ruling over the ashes of great civilization. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense, man.